You're good. Everybody's here.
It's being properly noticed.
Yes, it has.
Any public comments? Correspondence, communication, none. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved as presented.
Okay. I have a second.
All those opposed?
Any opposed? No. Corporate counsel?
Good morning. Do you have any questions about our report today?
Now, you know your report wasn't in there.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't. You're right. Sorry about that.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, why the report wasn't in there.
Business as usual.
The whole thing.
I'm actually more or less here today because it's the next item on the agenda, so I've got nothing to report. Other than we're busy as usual.
All right. Busy. Good. All right, moving on to the action items. All right. A request to repurchase property acquired at by county parcel number 10-075-03-07-002, Village of Grafton, site address 1103 Cedar Street, Grafton, Wisconsin.
Yes, good morning, everybody. If you'll give me just one moment, I have to get Mr. Palmer on the phone. I believe his son Chris is in attendance here right now.
Mr. Chairman, was that one of the properties we had looked at last month?
Yes.
That's, yeah.
When we have pictures of?
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna give him a call here. Unfortunately, the storm's knocked out his internet, so.
Yes. We were on Zoom last month. We had this on. And it's a very nice property.
Yes.
It's a real. They're gonna pay the back fees and get it back.
Yeah, that was a question last week or last.
Well, Mr. Palmer will try and get his father on the phone here. I put this in, I've been trying to meet his needs, you know, with being up north and everything. He couldn't make it down here, but, and then all of a sudden with all the crazy storms last night, it knocked out everything. So I think communication is a little difficult. We have by ordinance, the ability for a former owner to repurchase their property at the cost of all their taxes, interest, penalty, and pro rata share costs of fees and sales fees. So we do have that. We do have that option. It sounds like Mr. Palmer is here right now to request that repurchase. So, hello, Mr. Palmer.
Hi, should I call you back on your cell?
No, that's fine. We can, you can speak here. You'll just need to address the committee. If there's anything, you know, one of the things is we have to have them in person or at least available to request. So that's why he's here on the phone now. So if you just want to address the committee with whatever you gotta say.
Well, my name is Mike Palmer. I am sorry. I appreciate the help that Mr. Morrison has provided me to get to this point. We're going to go ahead and sell the house moving forward. I'm sorry to have impacted the community. I like that house quite a bit. I hope someone will find it as beautiful as I did.
Josh, a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The payment has to be made by today.
Yes.
At the end of business day today. I guess, Mr. Palmer, is that something that you'd be able to do?
Mr. Morrison has the cashier's check in hand, sir.
So it should be 2345.74.
Yes, the amount is actually an overage for $25,000. The remaining amount, we'll see if the Village of Grafton will hold for, per his request to credit the taxes this upcoming tax season.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is allowed by law, and I'm so glad the gentleman stepped up to the plate and have it done. I'd move for allow of request to repurchase the property.
Discussion. So let me just be, let me ask this, though, after today, are there gonna be any more costs to the county on
No.
this situation? Okay.
No, everything will be closed off. The only thing I have to do is sever, the water bill and the electric bill, which I'll do promptly. So there should be no extra cost to it. We just paid the, most recent month, which was figured into the costs. So,
I don't know if Josh had received any bids yet. The property was advertised for sale pursuant to the committee's direction. But looking at the ordinance, looking at the statute, there doesn't appear to be a deadline of repurchase. So I think the option to repurchase until the property would be sold is on the table.
And the other thing, this gentleman, Mr. Palmer, has a sweat equity in this. The county has no sweat equity into it. We're getting back what we are due.
Right.
So to me, it's very straightforward.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah, oh, I agree. I just, for my own clarity though, this was done a little late though. I mean, technically.
So, I had actually had this discussion with our corporation counsel. The, typical process is to send out a homestead letter, saying if I receive notice back by law, that they can submit a notice back to me saying that they're interested in a portion of the proceeds. And generally, we try to send out a repurchase letter for him to act on either or in that situation. And he did end up contacting me after I ended up getting the notification back in the mail. I talked with his son, Mr. Palmer, there, and he contacted him, and his attorney ended up contacting me a little bit back and forth, said, hey, he would like to repurchase the property. He'll be in contact very soon. And granted, the property went to sale, but as we have received no bids and we're not opening bids until next month, it's still a viable option. So it looks like the timeline on the ordinance is left to committee to decide on. I'll talk about that maybe in a little bit. Here's something just to be cognizant of on my end, just so we don't have this jam of process, if you want to call it that. So
Move forward because lack of communication really, because it did move, right? So.
correct.
Just want to clear on what process was there. Any other discussion?
I have a question on you have a page there which divides up the 23,485.
Yes.
And I noticed the property tax really jumped for 2020. Reassessment. I know we all got reassessment.
Yeah, I know there was some, well, the most recent 2020 reassessment put his value at 174.9. As far as the taxes go, yeah, it was likely, there's obviously some sort of notable jump that happened at the municipal or at the, yeah.
That seems really,
That's your city fathers.
yeah. I know. The value of my house would be similar to his.
I would also take the opportunity to tell you, Supervisor, that there could have been delinquent water. Yeah, just specials that were added to the tax bill. I think that was the case. So, yeah. So,
Well, so I'm glad we're at this point. As far as my personal feeling, as far as the timing of it, for me, I always look at it's the person whose property.
Oh, yeah.
So, to me, it's timely. If you got the bid and it's only half open, not totally open, the check comes. It's the owner's property.
Well, no, I feel much better about what's happening here than last month when we were discussing this, the last time we talked about it.
So, thanks, Josh.
So all our costs are covered too?
Everything's
All
covered.
right, sounds good. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
thank you, Mr. Palmer.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I'm sorry to put you through that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. B, report of county board citizens attendance and mileage. Motion to approve. Supervisor Strahm makes a motion to approve. We have a second. I think it's Supervisor. Supervisor Larson seconds it, even though he is very low on there.
He's got a real job too.
Next time you'll get on the board, right?
You can see it, you are in it for the money.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Oh, hold on, you opposed
Oh,
it.
you opposed it. I thought you were aye on yesterday.
Now let's want to discuss it.
Okay, four, and one opposed. Yes, you want to discuss it or no? I'm sorry.
Only I think we ought to look at the policy as to how the mileage is determined. If you look at it, everybody gets the same mileage for if they're at meeting here or at Public Works or the Justice Center. And depending upon how you drive, in my mind, the mileage isn't the same. So probably should be reviewed. Just
Okay.
I don't get very good mileage with my semi. Could I get a little extra?
Yeah, I might have to up it for that. Yeah, credit if you drive electric.
whatever.
That might take more administrative time and work and cost than the 50 cents or whatever it is.
Julie, did you hear that? They talk about the mileage. It's the same wherever you go for a meeting. Would it be difficult to get it exact? Well, people can put down exactly.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's the problem.
I think maybe just a reminder to everybody that it's from point A to point B, no stopping in between. So you go from your house to the meeting, back home, and that's it. It's not from your house to the grocery store to the meeting to another meeting.
Yeah, that's good. Julie, yeah.
Sure, I will say this, back in 2018, my staff and I took a look at the mileage. Some people were writing it down, some we've offered to MapQuest, and, we've done that. And the going, 2 miles less here, or 2 miles less there, and then people saying, well, I took this route because of construction or whatever it was. We decided that we would MapQuest all of the mileage, different routes, and then we chose to make sure that I think the longest one it was, and went with one mileage, one amount for every supervisor. So there isn't that difference. It's a lot easier to keep track of it, where you have a set mileage, whether you're going to the administration center or whether you're going to the justice center. And it works, when you come from the south, your longest mile is going to be to the administration center. When you come from the north, obviously the longest one is to the justice center. But we went through this, and even conventions, you're supposed, the RPNP says that you go from the shortest route. Well, people take their routes, and I can't MapQuest it. If I MapQuest it, I'm going to find a shorter route, but they didn't take that, and that's not the one that they want to get paid for. So, I mean, it all goes the same way.
Shortest route may not be the highway, right?
Right.
Everyone wants to go
Or
to the
maybe it
highway.
is the highway, maybe it's going through Milwaukee. I'm just saying, so, and it falls in line with the same with here. So it was easier for us to keep track of all of this, to change it. But you certainly, if you want to make specific directions on how to do it, you can change that in your rules.
I think Justin's point is very fair. These people, our staff actually have a lot of things going on, and if we're gonna nitpick about something like this, I will tell you from my experience with WTA, I just sent it in this morning. I put in my miles and it gets approved, and I go to a lot of meetings all over the state, so, at one point, we gotta make it easier for staff, we should make them. Tom, I understand your point. Yeah, I understand your point.
I need to bring up broken windows issue.
Right.
I mean, it's either you went 12 miles.
Right.
I was 14, or last night it was 4.
But not everybody is as diligent as you are, Tom. You are very good with your mileage, but most of them don't know how many miles. They don't check how many miles they have. It was just easier to do it this way. And in the long run, the amount of money that we're talking here is so small. It's so
And the other thing I will say, is most of the people I expect are like me. I got way bigger fish to fry and a lot of other things to worry about than worry about if I'm short at $10 or I got $10 too much. In the grand scheme, it don't matter to me. You know, so I think Justin's point is fair. You know, I appreciate your comment. Tom, but, you know.
My vote stands.
Okay, we have 4, 1 against. Action item C, wire transfers number 3309 to 3330 and June 2021 schedule of vouchers. The motion to approve.
No move for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Winker, second by Supervisor Larson. Any discussion? Joseph. All those in favor? Aye. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Opposed? None. All right. Approved 5-0. Discussion on 7A, health insurance premium county contribution. Good morning.
Okay, so today I brought a discussion item. This is something Jason and I have talked about for years, bringing to the finance committee for consideration. So the current status is employees who enrolled onto the county's health insurance before January 1, 2012, they pay 12% of their health insurance premium. And those who enrolled after pay 20%. And it's currently 63% of our employees on our insurance pay 20%. And in the agenda item, you can see the monthly premium. So the total premium for a single is $975. The total monthly premium for a family is $2,532. So for example, if we look at the family row, an employee who pays 12% pays $304 per month. An employee who pays 20% pays $506. So it's a monthly difference of about $200 and an annual difference of around $2,400. And one fairly common strategy that businesses in the private sector and other counties do is they'll tie the premium percentage to participation in the wellness program. And the idea is if you do the wellness program as an incentive, the following year you get the lower premium percentage. So, you know, I've been with the county for about 4.5 years, and one of the most common complaints I receive is the cost of health insurance from those who pay 20%. In March, earlier this year, we did an engagement survey. And one of the questions was, my benefits package is good compared to others in the industry. And we had, so for those who have been with the county for 10 or more years, so those who are paying 12% of the health insurance, they were in the 57th and 63rd percentile. And those who have been with the county for less than 10 years, or those who are paying the 20%, they were much lower. So those with the county who've been with the county 5 to 10 years, they were in the 6th percentile. And for new employees who've been with the county less than 5 years, they were actually lower than the 1st percentile. And that's been a common complaint I've heard from current employees as well as exit interviews. Some employees who have left the county. So we had HR staff. We surveyed 40 other Wisconsin counties to see what percentage their employees pay. On average, so looking at 48 counties, the average employee pays 13% of the premium. And if you look at the graph of all the different counties we surveyed, there's about 10 of them that tie their health insurance premium to their wellness program. And for their employees who don't do the wellness program, they pay on average 81%. So the county's current wellness program, we have we have 3 required elements. 1, you have to do a health risk assessment. 2, you have to have your biometrics done, so it's a blood prick, and they measure 5 so what they need to do those three things, and they also have to earn 600 points in total. So what I wanted to bring to this committee was to get your discussion or your sense is do you feel like it would be worth it to potentially in the future tie participation to the wellness program 2% of premium. So for example, if an employee completed the 2022 wellness program in 2023, they'd pay 12%. Those who did not complete it would pay 20%. And to give you an idea of what the possible financial impact would be, so for 2020, the county paid about $7.2 million total in premium. And we had about 47% of our eligible employees participate in the wellness program. If we would have tied the 20% down to 12% incentive to that 47 completion rate, it would have increased the total cost of the county about $70,000 across the entire county. If we would have, in 2020, if we would have had 47 instead of 47% participate, it would have bumped all the way up to 100%. That would have been $7,740,000, so about $540,000 increase countywide. And then you can see some various amounts in between.
So would the healthcare provider be participating in this?
No, this would be the county's, what percent the county pays versus what percent the employee pays.
Chris, just a comment, there's a few employees here, but to me, it's very sad that only 47% of the employees considered wellness a good thing. To me, that's incredible. Don't you care about your health? Don't you want to be healthy? You know,
Well, I can tell you why, at least from my experience, because my company does this. I work for Franklin right here in Fort, and we do this. And before they tied it to getting a discount on your insurance, hardly anybody was doing it. 47% actually seems high compared to where we started years ago. And once they tied it to, well, you'll get a discount on your insurance, numbers skyrocketed. And the feedback that they were getting is, I don't just want to give you my health information that you might use against me. But when they said, no, we want to use it to benefit you, then like, oh, well, in that case, I'll participate.
well, I will tell you, I go in every winter. My wife works for Kohler. That's where I get my insurance from. And it's not a big deal. They do about 5 things, you know, and for me, the most annoying thing is I come back, I'm morbidly obese. Just think if I was really overweight, you know, but the body metrics, it's skewed towards people that are not my size. It's the easiest way to say it.
Can I just say though, that just because you don't go in the wellness program doesn't mean you don't care about your health. I mean, it doesn't necessarily,
Well, I don't know. I feel strongly about this. And Chris, you've heard me say that many times.
Well, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I don't think you can generalize that everyone that doesn't get in our wellness program is like, oh, I don't care about my health. I mean, they can still care about their health, but they still choose not to get in the wellness
I
program.
was in that category. I wasn't participating. I was running triathlons on the time.
And it's different when you're younger compared to when you get older too. No, my point is, for 25 years, I bought my own health insurance, and I see the comment, people are frustrated, they gotta pay a portion. I tell you what, try paying 100% once. And we had bare bones coverage, because that's all you can afford, you know? And so.
Chris, I have a question. You compare us to all these counties, which really doesn't mean anything to me what they are doing in Humboldt County. If I look at counties near us, Waukesha, Sheboygan, Fond du Lac, we compare favorably. What I'd be more interested in is what does Cedarburg, Port Washington, Mequon do, because that's who we're competing for with employees. Those are the people that our employees are talking to. I doubt that they're calling very many people in Marathon County and asking them, what's your percentage of insurance payments? So do you have any idea what our local, I guess, competitors or people?
Oh, not offhand. I could get that information, but I don't have it on hand.
And so because we seem to compare well with our neighbors, Sheboygan, you don't have Milwaukee in here. Sheboygan, Waukesha, and
Well, Fond du Lac's in here.
Fond du Lac.
Well, I think the other point that I think that this program does, that, took a while for our group to understand is that if your workforce is healthier, you've got less claims against your policy. And I think that's kind of the bottom line, right? You're looking to reduce the number of claims. And when they were presented to us over the years, the numbers of people that were participating in this program, the drop in claims against the insurance carrier dropped pretty significantly, which surprised me. So that's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish here is reduce our cost to our claims. So
I guess if anything, I wonder why you raised the premium for people that started after 2010.
Yeah, so that was done in, I assume 2011. I don't know the specific reason why. It was just a cost savings. Certainly the total cost of the premium was significantly lower then.
Why'd you do it?
Well, I'm sure it was cost.
the cost went up.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Healthcare goes up, what, an average of 8%, you would know this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you gotta keep up with the times.
portion goes up every year unless they participate in the program.
Well,
Supervisor Richard.
I'm trying to think, we were 10 years ago, it was an Act 10 passed. And Act 10 said that counties cannot pay more than 88% of the policy. So 12% had to be by the employees. A lot of counties had 0 to 5%, maybe 10% that the employees would pay. So all those counties supposedly had to go up to 12% for the employee. Those are employees that were on board, I believe.
Tom, I gotta compliment you. You'd be the only person on the board that would have remembered something like that. And that's a true compliment. No, I'm very sincere about it. Yeah.
The green was going blue, so, thank you.
Well, can I ask then, why does Chippewa have
Uh,
the 100% paid?
That's what I would question. Where are they within the old Act 10? Some of them, in my mind, there's counties in conflict of Act 10, which still is. Now, so I think we were pretty close at that time. We might have been, employees might have been 10%, so they paid another group. And after that, we made it, whatever, 20%. Wow.
Well, financially, things were a little tough. That was when I first got on the board, but weren't there some troubles?
Well, it made a difference. You got here too.
And then after that, it was, and then it was limited on negotiations with unions or whatever, and 20%. I'm not on board with all this tracking of who's getting 50 points for this and 30 points for that. We just went through the 2 mile thing. For mileage, it's staff time impact. To me, there's a lot of staff impact in trying to implement this process too, where you get credit for doing this and that. I know you already do it to get the $500 or $1,000. And then we have new numbers for reducing the percent paid by the employees for the policy. And I keep looking at, unfortunately, my background is federal government. And a year ago, I paid the same as a federal employee for health insurance, which was for a family, it was 34.4% of the policy. It's a long ways from 20 and 12 or 100% like you used to pay. But there were various choices of policies. There was a standard policy, which is really good. That's at 34%. They also offer a basic one, which is not quite as good. And then the employee only pays 25% instead of 34%. And I know there was just a little bit of talk, Chris, looking into if there could be like 2 tiers of health insurance. And in either case, basically the way it looks in most cases, whatever the savings is between the good, really good insurance and the not quite so good insurance. Most of that savings, if not all, goes to the employee side of the premium, so. I think we should also look at something like that.
I think, Chris, now we have 4 levels, don't we?
Well, we have 4 levels, but it's based on, because she was a single.
Right.
So we are looking at the possibility, and their insurance broker this year, they were gonna look at potentially a second option that would have a higher deductible. The employee that's taking on more risk. The cost savings to them on a monthly basis would be probably pretty minimal. And then in terms of employees, putting more hurdles in their way or more actions that to do to complete the wellness program. I think the wellness program is very simple to use. We have a nice portal. We bring Aurora to come in to do the biometrics, usually done in this room. We get really excellent reviews by the employees. It just takes less, probably 10 minutes. The finger prick, they do your biometrics right there. All of your biometric data gets sent from Aurora directly to the vendor, gets uploaded into the portal. For instance, you can earn 50 points for a dental checkup. I have the app on my phone. All I do is take a picture with my phone and hit submit, and it's done, and you get 50 points. So I haven't heard anyone say that it's cumbersome to use. It's a very simple program. It's a very robust program. One thing we could do is right now it's 600 points to earn the cash incentive, so earn that $500. If we were to tie the wellness program to insurance premium, we probably up the points. So, for example, to earn the premium incentive, perhaps you have to earn 750 points, and then if you want that $500 on top of it, you have to probably earn 1,000 points. And then, we have other abilities. So right now we do 5 biometrics. We could say if someone fails 3 biometrics, then they have to participate in wellness coaching with our nurse practitioner at our employee wellness clinic, or participate in an Aurora wellness program. So there's a lot of things that we could do to kind of help control costs, but also incentivize people to get into the program, make sure they get into their doctor for their annual preventative, make sure they get their biometrics, and also have access to wellness coaching. So there would be, some increase in cost possibly, but ultimately right now our employees, salary-wise, they're paid less than comparable counties, and insurance-wise, they're paid more. So, and that's consistent complaints I get from employees, supported by our engagement survey, that they're not happy with their salaries or the cost of insurance. So this would be one method we could do to try to make our total compensation more competitive with other counties. And at the same time, it also incentivizes them to get our wellness program and could have potential positive impacts by reducing future insurance costs and claims.
But I just asked too, how much are we projecting our claims are going to go up in the next budget?
Well, so GHT said they would for sure get us our renewal number by September 15th. We're of course trying to push them, try to get it as soon as possible. The prior year it went up 3%. I would anticipate it'd probably be around that. We've been having a pretty good year.
Chris, wasn't it when you first got here, we were just insane?
Yeah. We were with WPS Health Insurance and they were losing money on it. And so ultimately that's why we wanted to get back to group health trust, because they give, there's more safety in the group health trust.
Supervisor Richard?
Another option would be just drop the 20% down to a smaller amount, but still higher than 12, or we got numbers between 12% and 20%. We want to do something that way. The other question I have, Chris, is you have 47% participation. Do you have an idea of what percent participate over at Losada, for instance, compared to in this building? Is there a difference in participation rates based on where people are working?
I have that information in the spreadsheet, but I don't have it calculated out. I could certainly get that information, but I don't have it handy with me. I would just have to do a few calculations. It would take long, but
I'm always thinking that Losada is kind of out there.
It's
We have our
Rural
clinic
employees.
and everything here, so then I want to make sure Losada doesn't get the short end of the stick. That's what I'm trying to say. However we look at that. So, and that is one of the more difficult places that we're trying to keep people.
And I think as a rule, that would be those employees that are shorter term compared to the most of them that we hire here. I think it's a general statement that you could use.
And a lot of those also might be interested in higher deductible or whatever, because you might be younger or whatever. And so I guess, I appreciate you looking at it, but we ought to look at a wider scope of what our options are.
But when you look at how people that work for somebody rank their job, money isn't, everybody assumes money's at top. Money isn't at top. Flexibility, benefits, there's certain things that come in ahead of money. So me personally, I would like us to at least do the best we can on benefits as far as insurance and stuff. Me personally, I think you're paid well, but obviously 600 people are gonna tell me you're full of beans. But I think if we could improve our healthcare, what we're offering to the employees would go a step in the right direction to satisfy the ones that are complaining about it. So, but I'm very adamant. I would like to see more participation for wellness. An old guy like me, I do it. You said it best. It's a 10-minute deal. It's not intrusive. It's very private. You're behind curtains. They weigh you, they finger prick you, they do a few other things and send you on your way. It's nothing intrusive about it.
But it's more than just that. There's points. I mean, you have to accumulate so many points, which is more than just going and having your biometrics done.
I
You
realize
have to sit
that.
in front of a computer if you need education classes.
I guess I don't, never
When you
have.
sit in front of a computer all day, you want to go home and sit in front of a computer to do that?
I've never been forced to do it. Yeah.
We have a lot, we have a lot of different ways you can earn points. It's all listed in the agenda item. If you don't smoke, you earn 100 points. If you do smoke, you have an option. We have a freedom from smoking program that's, actually they just completed it. Aurora administered it. They need at least 5 people to participate. And so this got done and 2 of the participants stopped smoking. So Aurora will follow up them in, 6 months to see if they're still stopped smoking. But the year before we had 2 employees stop smoking. We don't have a lot of smokers at the county, but, we do have options to make up points.
Supervisor Larson.
Just gonna say, having done this for a number of years now, it's really not that big a deal. And there are things, Julie, like you said, where you're sitting in front of a computer, if you want to do that, but there are so many other things you can do.
If you don't want to do it, you don't do it.
It really doesn't take that time. Like we said, you don't smoke, 100 points. You go get a dental checkup, 50 points. You go, they have a challenge where you enter in how many minutes you work out each day. When type in, 30 minutes. It takes 3 seconds, literally.
And the other thing that my wellness thing offers, obviously I don't have it on my arm, but I carry a Fitbit in my pocket every day, out there. And it tells you if you're active enough. And it tells me at the end of the day how many steps I got. Is that intrusive? It's in my pocket. I could really care less. Now, if I had to wear it on my arm, it wouldn't be for me. But
I was talking about the time commitment.
yeah.
So Chris, can I ask you, so do other counties have this two-level tier approach like we do?
Yeah. So if you look at the second page of the agenda item, there's a number of counties. Yeah, so here's some where you can see if they have, like for example, Bayfield, 88%, 80. So if you participate in wellness and you do the program, you pay 88%. If you don't, you pay 83. So any county that has 2 numbers, they tie it to the wellness program. Yeah. And Washington County, I didn't include them because they only have a high deductible plan, and I think they pay around 88%. But then if you do the wellness program, they provide money into your debt savings account.
Deductibles, everything.
Yeah, so it's a little different type program.
Do anyone to your knowledge have the system we have exactly where it's just 2 tiers and no percentage? No break from participation.
Yeah, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 counties where they had like 4 tiers based on like how many points.
So then we're going to do a pay survey, right? We're still talking about doing that.
Yeah, so as part of the 2022 budget, I put in an expansion request to do a compensation study. This is something that cities and counties typically try to do once every 10 years, just to make sure there's not internal compression or make sure there's equity across different departments with types of position, and also try to stay competitive with other counties. It's been at least 15 years since the county's done a comp study, so we'll probably do. So I do have price or proposals from 4 different vendors who work with a lot of different Wisconsin cities and counties. And so that'll be part of, up for board consideration as part of the budget process.
That'd be part of, I mean, the benefits would be part of this.
Yes, so part of that was these vendors would look at the salaries for other counties that are similar to us, and we can certainly include cities or villages if the board wanted to, but also would ask them to look at benefits, because that's a big part of total compensation.
You know, what percentage of the people who are in the wellness program now would be the newer employee, the 10-year or under?
Yes. It may take me a minute to pull the spreadsheet.
Well, okay. This thing, that's something maybe that we could present too, because sometimes it's harder to teach an old dog new tricks. So I wonder, no matter what we make as an incentive, person that's worked here for 30 years is gonna do what they're doing now.
I want to say it was close, or the 12%ers actually participated more. So I'll have to double, I can get that information, but it wasn't like the 20%ers were 90. So sure, yeah, I have that.
In better shape.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think it would be wise if, and I don't know how we could do it amongst the 5 of us supervisors, but I think we need to give them a little direction,
Right, that's-
where to go with this thing, and I voiced my opinion on that. But, I think at the very least, if we could improve the employees' healthcare benefits, which nowadays is a huge part of your package, extremely huge. We'd be going a long ways and it puts some smiles on some people's faces,
Well, I think
I'd be in favor of 12% for everybody.
yeah. Well, I think the goal that, of that 12 and 20, trying to somehow bridge that gap, that was a good idea. But let me ask you this, so if we did what you proposed basically here, the 20%ers would get this down to 12 if they get into this. So nothing would change really for the people that are already at 12%. They wouldn't get any benefit because they're already in it, or if they weren't in before, they decide to get in it, they wouldn't have any opportunity to improve their lot.
Well, I mean, the way I was planning on presenting it would be everyone would be on the same field. So if you're at 12 now and you don't do the 2022 program, you get 20.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're talking about they could possibly go up. So,
Yeah.
so theoretically, there's some people in the 12% right now that for whatever reason don't do the wellness and say they no way I'm doing it no matter what, they would bump up to 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's what I'm saying. But again, if you guys, ultimately, if that's what you guys on the board want, you can certainly.
No, I'm just trying to get clear what we're talking about, your idea. And yeah, we need to give you direction on what we think.
Well, going back to your comment though, I think we need to make sure the people that are already getting 12%, that there's something in it for them too. That, they've been long-term employees there, so we need to make sure that, okay, things are staying the same. Well, how can we sweeten the pie for those people and being somewhat equitable to everybody? But me personally, I'm gonna tell it again, I'm all about wellness.
How about eliminating the financial bonus for the former 20%ers that might become 12%ers?
I think if we just give him some general ideas and he can come up with a proposal, we don't need to decide the proposal today.
Or just get suggestions.
Right, yeah, and I'm not making fun of your
Well,
idea.
it comes down to the money portion of it, right? So we want to drop everyone from 20 to 12, and that's going to cost us, I think you said $70,000, right?
So it would cost, if we had the exact same participation rate, 47%, it'd be about 70,000 across the entire county. So about 60% of that would probably be levy. If every single person on health insurance at 47% bumped all the way up to 100%, it'd be 540,000 increase across countywide. About, I think about 250,000 of that would be the $500 incentive.
So I think we have to weigh that, whatever those costs are, to, if people could participate in this program and our claims drop by X number of dollars, that should be what drives.
And realistically, if we could get at 75% of the people that are on wellness, that you said, I realize not everybody's gonna go on. That's their personal choice, but And at the end, that's the choice they made and they're not being rewarded for it. Where the people that are on it will reward them. You know, to lower our risk.
If our claims drop, theoretically, our premiums would drop or not increase. So everybody benefits from that too.
You would think it'd be a powerful incentive to get from 20 to 12.
Oh, yeah.
To do
Yeah,
that. So
that'd be,
I would think that a lot of people would. I think the 47 would definitely come up to.
yeah, that'd be a big incentive. I think our participation would jump up for sure, quite a bit.
So, yeah, our goal is to get people in the program. I think another thing is to try to make a little bit less of a variance between the two groups, but the people that are worked here less.
But to make sure that we still reward the long-serving employee, you know.
So,
No.
Right.
We want to sweeten their piece of the pie a little bit too. But I think with those guidelines we gave you, I think, you know, you could come up with something. I don't think anybody's holding a gun to your head.
well, right, and I think like that part about the 12s going to 20, that doesn't feel very good. I mean, so I don't know if we can.
I know we don't want to raise our rates, but sometimes it's on point, right? Costs go up. It could be, regardless of what we do here, if costs just go up, we're gonna have to raise.
Still keep going up with, as our costs go up, their costs go up so much. And the deductibles are all the same for all, by the way, for anybody?
Yeah, the only difference is the percentage of premium paid.
I know, is that enough confusion or is that enough
No,
guidance?
that's good guidance. You know, we can come with sort of a menu of options.
Like I said, I think that the goal of getting more people into the wellness programs is a good goal. And so, and I think we all agree on that. And in fact, that trying to close the gap somehow from that 12 to 20 would be good too. And in general, making our employees more satisfied with their compensation. Yes.
Just, well, one thing Justin brought up about, you know, what do the cities or something pay? My thought at the time was, what do some of the major industries in the county pay? There are taxpayers. But I don't know if you want to go that far. But my one question I have, are we still doing this statement showing the total cost of salary and benefits that employees receive? I know we did that one.
Yeah, we sent that out in January, I believe, of this year.
Okay.
The total compensation to each employee that showed.
It's not like we're not doing a lot for our employees. So,
They received that this year.
But in today's labor market, I mean, you see the stuff that's being thrown out, anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 sign-on bonus. I mean,
That's only transitory.
yeah.
That's not gonna keep you on. Okay, any other discussion? I guess that's good. All right, thank you. Department reports, county clerk.
Unless you have questions, I continue to get open records requests for the November election. Takes a lot of my staff time. That's all I have to say.
Oh, good, all right. Finance.
Our last month was our highest month ever. We've already had 2 months this year over $900,000. So at the moment, we're tracking. I think we're gonna exceed 10 million in the second changes.
Jay, just a comment that when the auditors were in, they suggested a little bit that we look at upping 20% of the thing to 25%. I would like to somehow start that discussion here and get that to county board level. Because if they were pretty adamant about it, that they thought that was a good idea to keep our AAA bond rating. I'm all about keeping that. I think we need to follow suit with what they're thinking to do that. It's just a good business thing to do.
Yeah, and to be clear, with the general fund balance, that we have 25%,
That's always.
Right, but very simply, we could, on the next month, we'll get on our agenda, get it started from here, send it to the full board. Certainly Jay or maybe even a lady from Kerber Ross could come back and say, why is this important? You know, we understand finance a little bit more, but you know, the average person on the county board maybe doesn't understand the importance, but I think that would be wise to start it here and get it moving. I did talk to Paul about that.
It's actually.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, we're over that right now.
Yeah, but it's just a formality, but. I realize that. And I'll tell you the other side of it, the town of Belgium, which I chair, you know how much reserve we have? Zero. You know their comment? You need money, the bank's there. But here they are, you know, our auditors recommending it. I think it's foolish not to follow their advice.
Well, let me just ask that. So they recommended and said that would help us keep our AAA rate, right? But we're also on it. We also have, right now, we currently have AAA, right? So are they threatening to get rid of it because we're only at 20?
What's Barry say? Barry's the one that sells their bonds.
No, Barry doesn't rate our bonds. They sell them, but they don't rate them. That's what Moody's does.
But that is the other side to it. We're how much is that? 33%? How much money is that? Approximately.
So we have too much money in the account? That's
Yeah,
our problem?
we're at 20 as our minimum, our policy is 20. Our policy is 20. We're at 33. And so we're basically, like I said, I got all this tax money, we're just sitting on.
But part of it is, I think it's an anomaly because of all this government money that's out there floating around. Yeah. Town of Belgium just got a check of $70,000. We put it in the bank, you know.
That's not even included in that. Yeah, so that's not, we have it besides that,
Right.
you know, so.
You could have started spending some money.
Don't make a motion.
So I guess it's worth, anyway, bringing up and putting it on the agenda for the 25. Our auditors suggested it, and we might have some people for it, some people against. I think it'd be worth discussing and bringing it up.
The actual, my concern or thought is always, you've got how much money you're borrowing and how much reserve you've got. And yes, huge one, because you could reduce your reserve
Borrowing,
and reduce your borrowing by paying it off. And to me, the two balance as far as your AAA rating.
But then the other side of it,
Right.
the other side of it is, Tom, when we go to borrow money, without that AAA rating, that money is gonna cost us more. What's the implications on that?
But we wouldn't have to borrow it because we already got,
Well,
you know,
The money's so cheap right now.
well, we aren't making a lot of
interest.
on Josh's investments with the money either,
Yeah,
so.
but plus we're already at AAA.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I think
the auditors, why do we have to do this? We're already.
But I think it would be wise to see where the rest of the board.
I think, you know, I think Tom makes a good point. You know, we've talked about it. Initially, I thought, yeah, it's great to bump it up, but there are some alternative thoughts on it.
Probably the infrastructure stuff that we can look at.
I think there's a question we should be able to answer to, and that is, what would be the cost difference if we had a AA versus a AAA rating?
Oh, that's simple enough to find out. Just do a compare.
Okay, well, then let's find out if it's simple.
It actually seems kind of like a moot point. We're at 33 right now. Our policy is 20. So why do they need us to do anything really? I mean, even if we change it to 25, then we're at 33. What's, you know?
You just get credit for what you're already doing.
Right, exactly. We're already
You
doing it.
document it in the policy and then Moody's reviews that as a defensive measure by the board. Having that written in the policy, again, gets you to get credit for what you're already doing.
Oh, we don't.
We can always go back down to 20 if we run into trouble, right?
Oh, we don't make the rules, we just need to play by the rules.
Just our own guidance. we should probably try to get on the agenda next time and see what we can do.
Next couple months,
Yeah,
I'm
so,
in a hurry, but
yeah, no, I think it'd be good to just to discuss and see. All right, any other questions for Jay? Yeah, that yellow line's way up there, yeah, it's looking good. I don't think it's gonna, I think it's gonna continue to be pretty strong, at least foreseeable in the future, hopefully. All right, any other questions for Jay? All right, thank you. Human resources. Yeah.
We have much to add. Wellness program, we launched a new 6-week wellness program. Aurora is administering it. We had 20 employees, which was the maximum allowed. They signed up. Success rates, freedom from smoking. We had 2 employees stop smoking. And is going out to market on all of our benefits, so health insurance, dental, vision, life insurance, everything. They'll be putting together RFPs early next month, August. We expect to get the renewal number from Group Health Trust, so from the team. We've also been busy working on engagement efforts. So me and other HR staff have been out at Highway, out at Lasada, just working with employees, trying to figure out how we can make the work environment better. Right now, I'm in the process of interviewing all 27 employees at Lasada Crossings, kind of find out, what they enjoy working about at the county and what we can do better. And working on budget items as well. So it's a busy time. Any questions?
I really applaud you for taking that initiative to do that. It's sad when you hear about a couple of departments. I don't need to say them, but there's a lot of infighting, and that's so sad. We're all just here to make this place better.
Working for it.
Yeah, good job reaching out to. All right, information technology. Jason's not here, so there's a report on that. County treasurer.
Yeah, so you guys have my report. If there's any questions, please let me know. But I wanted to touch on foreclosures. So as you know, we went to sale, and I'll remove the sale for the 1103 Cedar property today, get everything taken down for it. My thought process going forward, gentlemen, was to 60-day homestead rule for the portion of the proceeds reverting back to the former owner if they requested timely within that 60 days. My thought process going forward was to delay the sale of properties after we are tax foreclosed on them for that 60 days in tandem with that homestead rule by law, to tie that with the repurchase option. I think that would cause a little less hubbub.
I think that's a good idea, because, yeah, we would have just kind of put it off for a month.
I gotta say, my goal at the end of the day is to keep us on tax roll, to lessen the burden of taxes being spread out to everybody else around them. So I try to get these things up for sale so I can get them sold.
Well, right, and in hindsight, like I said, at the meeting we talked about, we looked at the pictures, we're like, well, why wouldn't you just keep the house and sell it? And so I think, yeah, we should have probably slowed down the process.
Well, there was a notable communication issue that I had a lot of trouble breaking through with. So I'm happy that everything turned out the way it was. But I'm just telling you guys, I'll wait the 60 days going forward. We have to take this into consideration. If a property doesn't get sold until November and I run through tax bill season, guess what happens on January 1st? So that property is going to go exempt. So now that burden of that property goes to everybody else around it. So just throwing that out there, I do have a very small window to sell in. You'll have to pardon the minor attempt to expand that very small time frame that I'm allotted. So, but otherwise, everything's been going very well. We have our assistant real property lister position out for hire right now. So I'll be taking candidates in this next month. As you guys are aware, deputy treasurer, I pulled Christine Morano from her assistant real property lister position. She's joined me as deputy treasurer going forward. So I'll be hiring out for that this next month. I think it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to whoever is selected and willing to accept the position.
So Josh, can I just ask a question quickly? So the cash is up 13 million. Is that part of the 8 million that we got?
Correct.
Okay. 'Cause
Yeah, so that's all figured in. That's part of our investments right now. So, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, everything's been running well. We're on our last 2 days of massive tax collection here at the county, as you guys are aware. If you want to reach out to your district and say, if you owe taxes, the treasurer's office has a new tagline: don't wait, don't be late. So nobody likes to get a charge of 10.5% in August. So I would ask you guys to communicate that with your district. Say, if you don't want to pay that, you need to pay by July 31st. So I've been trying to get that out there as a promotional blitz, but of course, we're still going to take many calls in 2 weeks about the issue. So I'm really trying to get to the heart of the matter here and try to get everybody to remember to pay. So we've gone to great lengths this month to reach out to people who haven't sent their checks in at the correct amounts, have been missing information, lost mail. I've never had this. I actually had a bag come in from the post office saying, we're sorry, we damaged this envelope. We don't know what was in it and where it went. I actually had that. Oh, but the taxpayer I contacted them and they said, oh, I'll just send you a new check. Thanks, I'll stop doing that. Because it looked like it was slit open. So somebody pulled the check out of there. So I said, you're gonna want to call and stop pay that. I don't have it. So, but anyway, so I thought that was really cool. But myself, Christine, and Katie, my accounting intern, she's absolutely wonderful. You guys get a chance to stop up and meet her within the next month. She's done September 3rd. She's here only for summers. She's done a wonderful job, and very appreciative of her time here, especially with us being down one full-time staff member. So things been going real well. If anybody's got any questions, please take note too. The tax foreclosure process for the 2018 year will again start up on October 1st. I always give the people a month after they get their tax certificate to make good on their earliest year, so we can get that gone, so they don't have to go through the process. And then they can talk about undertaking a payment plan with me. Speaking of payment plans, I have taken on 3 more, so you'll see that in my report next month. The thing to note with that, I did get a hold of all of our 2018 tax year pre-foreclosure parcel owners, and I had contacted them and said, if you would like a payment plan, best to get that in by the end of July, so we can start a payment history, so I can remove you from tax foreclosure if you follow your payment plan history. So unfortunately, I haven't had too many bites on that, but the option is there. I don't typically do payment plans for somebody in foreclosure after September 1st because it could be one of those, yeah, I'll pay it. They pay it for 4 months, and they're like, well, at least I got off foreclosure for the year. Once the list is in, it's in. So I have to try and establish some sort of applicable timeline to it. The only last thing I'll tell you is if you look at my revenues on the last page, you're going to see that my general treasurer revenue is a little high right now. That is because we actually received a loan payoff amount from Prism Manufacturing. It's an old RLF that was actually written off. They actually paid. So given that everything was written off and closed off, I was like, we're trying to figure out where to put it. I set it to just the general treasurer revenue for now. In the event that the state did not want those funds sent to them, then we could just move it to a proper revenue at that time. But they do want the funds, so we'll pull it out of the revenue and get a check out to the state, and that'll be done. So you'll see that reduction happen next month, or maybe September, given I think I asked for the check request for next week, Friday. So otherwise, everything's on the up and up. You can see we're underneath our expenses at the 6-month mark by 2.5%, which is really awesome considering I had to purchase that check folder this year. So that came out of my departmental budget. That was $12,000. not budgeted for, so, but I found those 12, I found that 12,000.
Right.
I got an old ag use chart. Found them.
But thanks, guys. We got kind of a deadline.
Yeah, so that's about it, guys. You're welcome to contact me, email me, call, stop in, come over to my house. Doesn't matter. I only talk about work and family nowadays, so.
So next meeting date is August 26th. And do I have a motion to adjourn? Supervisor Straub, second by Supervisor Richard. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. All right, we're close to 9:30.
You're right on.
Dave, you work out of your house yet?
Probably more. Laying awake last night.